Luigi. Yup, yup. Mario.
Alrighty, it looks like they're on their way. They're going fast.
Yep.
Everyone who's watched the tournament match so far know Area 1 doesn't matter, and it's basically just there to be there.
Essentially, yeah. There are very small time saves, obviously, each runner can't get, and it will most likely define who is leading at the start of this race, but Area 1 essentially only counts for about a sixth of the run, so there's definitely a lot of time to be made up in other places.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
You'll notice both players collecting the key and not having any kind of animation from the Game Boy Horror appearing. They're using a glitch called Map Glitch, and essentially what they've done is they've disabled the Game Boy Horror so it doesn't pop up during the cutscene of collecting each key, and that saves quite a bit of time overall during the run.
Yeah, and that was actually accidentally found by me a long time ago when I went to save and quit on Fire Save and Quit, and it never happened. 32 found a consistent setup for it. Ever since then, we've been going 10 seconds faster every run. For how long it's been since we found that, it's been quite a while. A little bit of trouble on that second double.
Yeah, it looks like for both runners they're having a bit of trouble.
Missed it. Ooh. Oof. I mean, Area 1 does not matter too much, so you don't have to worry about it too much.
Yes, Area 1 showing that despite your time, you can still definitely make some minor mistakes, and definitely showing its power as the #1 area in Luigi's Mansion.
Alright, both runners are now getting into the second half of Area 1 with the first portrait ghost possible, Neville. Two different strats. One is Zircon going in the top left. You can get right on the chest, and for 100% it actually is a lot better. Doing bottom left.
Mario.
Zircon having a really clean suck-up on that first portrait ghost.
Yeah, definitely. Now Lydia's room. Lydia is a very laggy ghost just because the room itself is so laggy. Room's next to Armory. Very difficult ghost to get perfectly.
Absolutely, both players looking like they're doing a pretty nice job collecting the ghost, though.
And both for now.
Heading to Chauncey, the first area boss of the game.
Really, these are some probably not very much of a difference between the two runners right now.
Yeah, I would say that they're both very, very close in time for sure.
Both runners definitely didn't have the Area 1 they want to have, but do anything about it.
Nope. They will be able to clean up the runs very, very well in the late game for sure, though there's definitely a lot more of this run to go.
And for everyone watching, after this race, we actually have another race right after this on this channel. It's going to be Airshock versus Armarts 3, and that's going to be a really good race. You do not want to miss that one either.
Absolutely.
To finish this one, so be ready for a nice long...
But you'll see both players elect to grab the first ball early and also to take damage, or at least Zircon is taking damage to move Chauncey along.
To move Chauncey along, you can basically get right underneath him, and if you do it correctly enough and good enough, you can actually get him to skip one bounce, and it saves a little bit of time.
You'll also see Zircon electing to intentionally get hit once again to use the invincibility frames to grab the second ball early. We'll see if hephlex can also execute properly. It looks like he's going for it as well. And he just falls short, but recovers pretty nicely and gets the ball and takes care of Chauncey.
It looks like a 12-second difference leaving Area 1 for the runners. About 12 seconds.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting to see where the runners come out of the storage room after doing the re-release segment. I think that's generally a defining point in the run, especially with early release and other factors of just having good execution in that area. There's a lot of time to be saved and lost.
Example of that was actually the race earlier that you went in. From between you and Mini in Area 1, but then he got early release, really good shot guys and everything else, and he pulled out to be about 30 seconds ahead of you.
Yes, absolutely. Getting early release and executing well definitely can save a lot of time, especially if your opponent is unable to get as lucky or not execute as well. Also, the boos in Area 2 tend to be very time-consuming as well. There's a lot of time to be lost on those, or saved, again. There are a lot of variables in Area 2.
Area 2 is what we call the run, pretty much. Area 1's just bread. Can't really taste anything. It's just, it shouldn't even be there on most sandwiches. Flavor. And the Area 2 and 3 is the meat.
Indeed. You'll also see Zircon pulling out the Game Boy Horror there to skip the scare animation that Luigi does when he gets scared by a ghost. And hephlex also doing that as well. It's usually...
double.
Yeah, he did miss the double though, which is quite unfortunate. The scare skip is usually used for better positioning, but also in some circumstances it can save a bit of time as well.
Alright, let's see how Zircon's Shy Guys are gonna go. Fine. He pulled off the third double with mask. Oh no. A few seconds that hephlex could save if he gets good Shy Guy doubles as well.
Indeed. It's looking like his first double is looking very good as well. Definitely going to be keeping an eye. It looks like Zircon does get early release as well, so that is very good for him. Zircon collecting the key and getting ready to head into the storage room. hephlex waiting to see if he can get early release as well.
Basically, all that early release is those dancers can share their hearts about 10 seconds sooner than usual and got, or they could show it 10 seconds later, like what hephlex just got. And it's basically just RNG, it's random if you get it or not. Like for hephlex, he did not get it.
You'll see hephlex pulling out the camera again to ensure that he does not get scared. Also, he will be going for a trick called poster skip, and basically what that trick is the person will position themselves in a position where they can grab the poster that's on the other side of the wall that releases the booze, or that has a button to release the booze, without actually having to go over there and release it. Essentially, they're able to use the couple of seconds that they have between the ghost spawning to pull off the poster, and that saves about 3 seconds, I believe.
About 3 seconds. It's from basically execution and luck. Hephlex is now about 32 seconds behind. But anything can happen.
Absolutely. 32 seconds can definitely be made up very quickly, especially if the person that is ahead does have a serious execution error, such as missing a boo or having a boo escape, or something even as extreme as dying. Any of those can lose a handful of time.
Go for a reverse tech skip. He's gonna definitely get it, I believe.
And he does.
Good first boo for Zircon.
We'll see if hephlex has the opportunity to safely go for the tech skip as well, or if he's going to play it more conservatively. For a lot of runners, they're very hesitant to go for the tech skip if there's a lump in the table, because that indicates that there's a chance for the boo to be there. In Zircon's case, there was no lump, so he could confidently go for it. It looks like hephlex is just going to elect to pull the tablecloth off and grab the boo, which happens to be inside the tablecloth this time around.
Yeah, Zircon's first 3 boos were pretty decent.
You'll notice Zircon passing through the ballroom into the storage room and grabbing that boo first. Runners do that in order to get an idea of the positioning of where the boo in the ballroom is, in order to save time from not having to check all around the ballroom and then worrying about going to the storage room. It's technically a personal preference, but I would say that most runners do grab that boo first in storage.
Hephlex with the really bad read in wardrobe. So it took power over the boo radar in the bottom right.
Zircon cleaning up his 5th boo very, very nicely there.
What Hephlex did there is one reason that you should always check the bottom right as soon as you check the top right as well, because it will only pick up one of those on the radar. So once you click it, you'll go to the next object, and he could actually be in the other spot, and you just didn't see it.
Absolutely. The wardrobe room is definitely a very tricky room to read boos in, and like Michael was saying, checking the shoe rack or whatever is at the bottom of the room is very, very important.
Having extremely tough time trying to spawn the next boo. Those rooms are just disgusting. Oof.
Absolutely, and it looks like Zircon is making his way into the mirror room. The mirror room is a very unique room in the mansion. It's one of the only rooms where the ghosts can't be seen until you flash them. They are only seen in the reflection of the mirror.
A very interesting room.
Absolutely. Also, the doubles are very satisfying to watch. A trick coming up that a lot of players do is called fire skip, and basically what that trick entails is grabbing the boo and the fire medallion at the same time in order to skip the text from EGAD after collecting the medallion and saving and quitting in order to reload with the ability to collect fire. You'll see Zircon executing that very well.
Found about a year ago by me and the official Skazi. For example, Zircon, he named this split basically the combination of me and Skazi's name. Pronounced like Meesickle Hazily. And everyone's like, why? What split is that? Oh, it's just Meesickle Hazily.
So we're going to see hephlex trying to take his go at the mirror room. See if he'll execute his first double well.
Mario.
Getting a pretty good lineup, and he does execute. The second double also looks very good.
It's both doubles. That's great.
Absolutely. Also, it looks like he did miss the window of opportunity to check the chest in between that little cutscene.
Oh, okay. He saved it. Oof.
He did save it, yes. It looks like he did collect the medallion. It's hard to tell. Yes, he did. Very good. So both players getting that. Another trick that's coming up is called hat skip. And what that is you grab the Mario hat during the same time that the chest in the laundry room is spawning. Just like that there, you'll see the room almost kind of cut, and what that does is that skips the animation of the chest spawning in and makes it much easier to make the butler cycle. Zircon executing that very, very well.
You can either do it with a Mario item, a key, or gems.
Oh yeah.
You'll also notice that Zircon has elected to hit the mouse hole. There are two mouse hole text skips you can do exclusively in the Japanese version. You'll just see him do that there, where it skips EGAD's text upon collecting the boo, and those save a little bit of time as well. And again, the Japanese version of the game is the only version where those tricks can be executed.
Zircon having a pretty clean hitter room quad. A decent find.
It looks like hephlex will be very soon going for the hat skip, but he actually ends up accidentally despawning the grabber ghost, so electing to grab the hat right away probably will skip opening the chest altogether in order to avoid any kind of issue with that.
I was trying to go for the legendary Laundry Boo text skip, but he did not get it. Rest in peace.
hephlex still collecting the butler key and the butler, of course, very effectively. Looking for that boo now and getting the boo to spawn in. Also, it's very important to know that hephlex is on the English version, so you will see that the text skip does not work on his version. You'll see the EGAD text pop up there, despite him going into the mouse hole. So just with hephlex being on the English version versus Zircon, who's on the Japanese version, he's already going to be at a bit of a deficit time-wise, since the Japanese version does save more time over the English version.
Yeah, that was a very interesting hephlex just did there with his quad. He burned an extra one, so he only had to get a triple.
Yeah, he probably wasn't feeling confident about the quad, or maybe due to his setup, he just wasn't sure about it and just wanted to play it safe, and I totally respect that, especially in a race setting, you know, where you're really trying to do it.
Not make the bats disappear, so he wanted to do that because he didn't want to get hit by the bats, I think.
Yeah, the bats are very, very cruel in that room. Zircon's going to be making his way into the kitchen in a moment. And it looks like hephlex is heading into Melody's room now.
Zircon's bad area 1. This isn't that bad of a water split for him.
Yeah, low 19 is definitely a very, very good water split. Zircon does have one of the best times currently on the leaderboard, so it is expected for him to perform pretty well in this part of the run. But I would definitely agree with you, Michael, that his split really is good. He is indeed
Usually known to be one of the most consistent runners in this game.
So it's looking like hephlex is cleaning up Melody's music sheets and is gonna start getting her into the vacuum there. You'll see the radar immediately flash red there, indicating that there's a chance that the Boo would be directly in front of Luigi. How a lot of people judge where the Boo is based on the radar is by looking at Luigi's feet. Luigi's feet in the direction that they're pointing in generally will give you a good idea of what object the Boo might be in. Even if Luigi's turned a different direction, his feet never lie, and that's a very nice little trick that some runners still don't even know. I actually found out about it not too long ago myself, and it's been a lifesaver.
Zircon had me scared there for a second with his spooky suck-up. It looks like to me he was about to break off right at the end, but he barely got it.
Yes, also Zircon getting the skeleton double in the graveyard, very good.
Zircon looks to be only about 1 second behind his PB.
Yeah, unfortunate for hephlex that he had messed up the suck-up on the Ice Ghost in the freezer, but still cleaning it up pretty nicely. Getting a sub 21 water, which is not bad. I would say that both players definitely have a bit of a bigger gap between them now, with Zircon finishing I think at like a 19-12 water split, with hephlex getting I think a 20-40 something. So definitely, you know,
easily.
Yeah, definitely around a minute and a half. Hephlex finding the Boo in kitchen.
Fired by Zircon.
Yep, a solid 1 cycle. It definitely had me a bit spooked, but he clutched it out.
Now the thing about Zircon's PB is Area 3 was actually extremely good, and that's how he was able to get a 56. His Area 3 was one of the best I've ever seen. Hard to keep that kind of pace going.
You'll also notice that hephlex is electing to purposefully get hit on the 3rd cycle of the spooky ghost, and basically what that does is that allows the skeleton to spawn a little bit earlier and allows you to suck up the spooky ghost faster. And hephlex also getting the skeleton double with a very clean setup, and it's looking like he's going to head into Bogmire now. Getting a 1 cycle on Bogmire is definitely not an easy feat, especially in a race, so it'll be interesting to see if both players will in fact get that 1 cycle. Bogmire is definitely one of the toughest ghosts to 1 cycle in the game. Well, one of the toughest that's possible, because technically Chauncey is impossible to 1 cycle as far as we know. But he is definitely not an easy ghost to suck up.
Moving into Area 3, and cool area. There's a lot of optimization you can do in it, and later on there's the Area 1 hallway we have to go back to, and everyone calls that the RNG epitome of this game. Area 1 hallway kills so many runs.
Absolutely. There's definitely a lot of RNG involved in it.
The 1 cycle Bogmire.
Oof. Very unfortunate for hephlex. It's looking like he's going to get a 3 cycle on Bogmire here, but he does clean it up nicely. Yeah, if you guys noticed how Luigi was being pulled on Bogmire, that was a very solid indicator that there was a good chance for Bogmire to break off. What a runner is supposed to do in that situation is pull back in the opposite direction on the control stick, and hephlex may have very well tried to do that as well, and what that does is that regains control of Bogmire, and then you can continue the cycle. But even then, you know, there's always that variable to it, and it's nothing is ever really guaranteed. But hephlex definitely still giving it a good go, and definitely cleaning up his Area 2 quite nicely. Zircon making sure Luigi gets his leg day in, spawning that key on the treadmill. Very good. Also, you'll notice that Zircon had sprayed a bit of the water element there, and essentially what that does is that saves a little bit of time. It's a flashlight skip. And what that does is it skips the animation of Luigi having to pull the flashlight out. You'll see the runners do that in a lot of areas whenever you're picking up an item or something of the sort, or if you're entering from a lit room to a dark room, you can do those skips and they will save time.
Yeah, Zircon getting a pretty decent ice time.
Yes, absolutely. The tea room is very, very tricky with boos.
And Zircon, as soon as it spawned, all the way to the left side. No,
No,
it's right side.
exactly what I was saying. The room can be very deceiving, and reading the radar is definitely difficult. It looked like Zircon was maybe attempting to go for a tech skip, but accidentally sucked off the tablecloth all the way. Like you guys saw earlier when Zircon did get the text skip in the parlor room, you are able to skip text in this game in any version when you suck up a cloth and a boo at the same time, or during the frame window where the boo's been sucked up but EGAD hasn't started talking yet. It's looking like hephlex is also gonna head over into Biff Atlas's room in just a moment.
Let's see how Zircon's nano room's gonna go. Save or lose a lot of time.
Absolutely. Looking like a very good set of yarn balls from Zircon. Also, hephlex making sure Luigi gets his leg day in as well. Very good. Grabbing that key.
Zircon decided to do left side nana while most people started doing right side nana just because the room is so big. And the boo usually is on the right side somewhere.
Absolutely.
And it saves quite a bit of time actually, compared to just middle and then going to the right.
There are definitely some things that runners do that are just based on personal preference. I know I personally go all the way for right side nana, so it is interesting to see Zircon go for left, but you know, it's one of those things that the runner kind of decides, and you know, in certain scenarios it's going to benefit them, and then in certain scenarios it's not, and that's just the way that Nano's room in particular goes.
Yeah. Double.
It's looking like hephlex is collecting the boo in the tea room. Gonna be starting the second floor hallway for area 3. Also, Zircon electing to go for the triple in the Astro Hall room, a very advanced strat. You'll also notice both runners doing a very specific strat with the vacuum when sucking up the booze, and that is called R-pumping. And essentially what that strat is that controls the cackles that the boos yell out when they're being sucked up, and based on the cackles, that determines how quickly the boo will leave. And what that does is it allows for consistent 1 cycles on some higher health boos.
Nana and made him despawn.
You'll see hephlex elect to check the right side of the room first.
It pays off for him.
Absolutely. And there's that R-pump strat once again from hephlex. You'll see him moving the vacuum up and down at about every 10 HP.
Mario. Mario. Mario.
It's looking like Zircon's heading downstairs into the projector room. Hephlex now taking his go at the Astro Hall room, getting the first double very cleanly. The positioning is very important for where Luigi stands in order to effectively get those doubles. If Luigi is in position correctly, the orange ghost will not walk towards Luigi, and it will be very hard to execute. And you'll see Hephlex going for the more conservative suck up on the grabber ghost and then the double on the shy guys, which is a little bit different than what ZirconEagle went for, which was a bit more of an advanced strat.
Would like to commentate. On here on the mic.
Hephlex taking his go at Moonshot. He gets it first try. Also, Zircon electing to save and quit after collecting the boo in the projector room, which is definitely less common than what most players do, which is walk into the slim bank shot room and elect to mirror warp instead. Both are very, very optimal though, and the difference in time between the two is very minuscule. But again, just one of those personal preference strats that I was talking about earlier. That's the beauty about speedrunning Luigi's Mansion, is that you can kind of play around with some of your strats and still, you know, be playing as optimally as you can be. It just comes down to personal preference in a lot of ways.
Fast in quite a lot of ways. There's a lot of different strats and stuff people can use, and it's just what you're comfortable with.
Absolutely. You'll notice.
We'll see from Zircon, I'm pretty sure, is his patented. Hopefully. We'll see why you would not go for it. He's definitely going for it.
It's looking like he might go for it.
That's it.
And he does
Wonderful.
grab both, but can he actually get... Oh!
Oh, he broke off at 3.
Dang. That was actually very, very impressive. And we'll see Hephlex going for the triple here in the projector room. Does get it. Will elect to check the left side of the room first, and it actually might pay off for him. He did in fact get very good RNG, and did happen to find the ghost on the left side of the room, so that will definitely save a little bit of time for him. And you'll see Hephlex elect to mirror work instead
Take
of
a
saving
picture of the painting. I mean, that's a pretty good picture, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know if we should be doing that.
Yeah, there are definitely instances where players will accidentally trigger text boxes when trying to mirror warp. Most notoriously, I would say that Lydia's room can cause that, because if you hit anywhere on the actual bureau dresser with the mirror that isn't the mirror, to some extent, there's a little bit of leeway, you'll trigger a text box. But also when you grab Grimly, if you're standing too close to the wardrobe, even if you click the mirror, it still might trigger the text box for the wardrobe. You'll see Zircon go for a tech skip on the Lydia bed cloth, and he does execute it and does not accidentally trigger a text box as well. We have Hephlex spawning in the twins here.
A little bit of trouble making the twin spawn where he wanted them to.
Now it looks like ZirconEagle is at the fortune teller. The fortune teller is a lot of mashing. You have to give the fortune teller all 5 items that you've collected. And then she'll show her heart, and you can vacuum her up as well. You'll also notice that when the players are in the twins room, they are vacuuming or spraying the element onto the boxes to see if they shake. If the boxes do not shake, that's how the players know that the twins are not in there.
Oh, and hephlex accidentally spawned the speed spirit while just waiting for the twin to start moving, and it caused him to get scared and get hit by the twin.
Other than initially getting hit in that twin room, he did finish the twins off very nicely.
Oh,
hephlex unfortunately getting hit again by the boos. Where the boos spawn in a lot of rooms, it's very tricky sometimes to position Luigi where he won't get hit.
just now finishing up with Clairvoyant. That's another thing that will have hephlex at a disadvantage is the Clairvoyant text is 15 seconds longer on English than Japanese.
Yes, that is definitely a very vital time save that ZirconEagle is getting over hephlex. That is the majority of the time save that is in the Japanese version when compared to the English version, with the other time save being accounted for just with general text in text boxes, and also the mouse hole text skips. Also, it's looking like hephlex is unable to get the text skip on.
He does get Vanguard text.
Yeah,
with that.
I was about to say that too. Yeah, so not only did he miss the text skip, which does lose a bit of time, but he also got very bad RNG and got the longest text box from collecting a boo as well. So very unfortunate for hephlex.
Yeah, if you definitely don't like the text in Japanese on Clairvoyant, your hands are really going to be hurting after the English one.
Absolutely. That's the whole reason that I switched to JP. My hands were begging me. It wasn't even for the time save, it was just for my own sanity. Even though there is significant time save on the Japanese version, many players have proved that playing on the English version can still yield a very good time. One player in particular that I'm thinking about is Super, who has gotten a sub-1 time on the English version, which is definitely a very, very impressive feat. There's a very large, I guess, stigma that, you know, in order to get a very optimal time, you have to play on Japanese, which is not true at all. So if there are any runners out there that are like looking to get into the game and, you know, don't necessarily have the Japanese version, you know, it's still very, very awesome and optimal to play on the English version too.
English version only loses about 25 to 30 seconds. So technically speaking, you could still get world record on English at the moment.
Yes. Absolutely.
Disc right now, do not worry about it. Now, it's a different story if your English disc is broke and you need a new one. You should just go ahead and buy the Japanese one, so you don't have to buy another one later on.
This is true. This is very true. We'll see Zircon starting the Bulasis fight here. Bulasis is definitely a run killer for a lot of people, myself included. Essentially, you'll see him do a little U around the unicorn horse statue and collect the medallion, or not the medallion, the element, and you'll see him line up and back up. Both players will probably have a slightly different strat. This is another one of those areas where players can do things a little bit differently. It's looking like Zircon is not getting the best cycle here, but yeah, he just unable to clean that up. Usually what players will do is they'll do the initial ice shot and then do what is called almost a sweep, where they'll sweep over the remaining boos and try and collect them. And it's looking like that's what Zircon attempted there, but just did not execute it properly. So he will be doing a 2-cycle Fortunately for him, though, he had less than 4 boos, so he was able to manipulate the boos to attack him, which saved time versus having more than 4 left.
Now, I do want to talk about what Zircon just did there. When he went to go grab the mini boo losses again, he basically stood in one place. Right after he goes back together, he'll just keep bouncing off your suction from the vacuum, and you can lose a little bit more time. So for him standing still just like that, he was able to wait. Actually, just pull him right over to the unicorn and pop him again.
Looking like hephlex going for the double, and he does execute the double properly in the safari room. Once hephlex grabs the boo in here, it looks like he will also be taking his go at Boolossus. It'll be interesting to see what strat he uses, since there are a couple of ways you can line up properly to get a good ice shot. That was definitely very good insight by Michael about the Boolossus strat that Zircon was doing to avoid getting bonked by Boolossus. He's a big boy. You don't want to get hit by him.
He does some big damage.
Absolutely. Also, that's something very important to mention as well, is that on the English version, you actually do take 2 times the damage that you do on the Japanese version. And basically, the Japanese version takes the same amount of damage as the normal mansion does, where in English, you will take double damage because it is the hidden mansion. So that's also something that usually doesn't come into play. But for some new runners who are trying to play on English, there's definitely some scares of death, just because of how much damage you can take during the runs.
It's already happened once in this tournament, but the ice can actually go out of bounds to the point that you can't really even catch the ice on the right side. And that actually happened to HD in his match just a couple hours ago.
Oof. That
Any extra seconds from that?
We'll see if hephlex can be a little bit luckier than HD and not get its ice spawning out of bounds, and it looks like he is. Getting a very nice ice placement, actually. Should be very easy for him to grab it, but he actually does jumble the ice a bit, and you'll notice that hephlex is pointing the vacuum down instead of up initially, which differs from Zircon's strat, but then he tilts it up and does his ice shot, only collecting a few boos, but
It's not looking like a one cycle.
No, but he does do the sweep and gets a couple others. Also, you'll see that he does have more than 4 boos left, so it'll be interesting to see how he addresses that, since manipulating the boos with more than 4 is not an easy feat. You'll see him going for some ice shots and then also just kind of reading where the boos are trying to attack him. It's looking like this is going to be a 3 cycle for him. I think he's gotten it down to 4, so...
Yeah, he should be fine for the next cycle, but that's really sad that happens.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
Extremely stupid for the medium-sized boo losses.
Getting a pretty quick grab on that Boolossus there. And you'll see him going for the strats where you...
That looked like the boo wasn't froze, and then it got froze.
Yes.
Looking. Zircon side, he's a get Grimly now, and Grimly can show his heart anywhere from instantly to about 48 to 50 seconds. 47 is the record, so we're pretty sure it can go up to 50 at least.
Looking like he's got a pretty good Grimly there. It wasn't instant, but it definitely was not too long either.
6 seconds, which is about average.
I'll be curious to see if Zircon goes for Breaker Boo 1 cycle.
I don't see what he has to lose, to be honest. I want to see a Breaker Boo 1 cycle.
I do too. I'm kind of hoping that he does go for it. I know he is one of the players that is able to do that 1 cycle, so it would be nice to see him go for it.
If he doesn't go for it, though, you can watch the race tomorrow with me in it, and I'm going for it. So we're going to have it happen at least once in the tournament.
Absolutely. I think at least everything's going to happen once in the tournament.
We gotta go for it too.
I almost went for it today in my match because I was like, man, I don't know where I gotta make up the rest of the time. He is gonna go for it as well.
I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get this easily. Once, I don't know if he realized it.
He did get
Let's
it. Wow.
go, Zircon.
Wow, that is very impressive by Zircon. That strat is incredibly advanced, and very, very few runners are able to consistently do it, or let alone, you know, go for it in the run. So executing that in the race is very impressive.
Now, basically what that does is, it changes the route up a bit. Like, he gets that boo, and instead he skips Van Gore boo, and that saves about 7 to 10 seconds.
Mushroom spawning, Zircon unfortunately getting hit by it. Very bad RNG. The cellar room in particular is notorious for having random mushrooms spawn in just because there are a lot of spawn points for those mushrooms when you're finding the boos, so Zircon just electing to grab the boo later.
Unfortunate for Zircon.
Absolutely.
But at least he did get Breakaboo one cycle.
Yes, so the time save should balance out a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if hephlex also does go for the cellar double. I did notice that Zircon went for the cellar double and executed that properly. The cellar is definitely a variable room.
Yeah, it definitely is.
A lot of things that can happen in it between mushroom spawns and also just reading the radar in that room is incredibly difficult, especially because the boo can be on the same side of the room in 2 separate places on different levels of the shelves. So it's definitely interesting to see. We'll see hephlex heading out to Grimly. We'll see what kind of Grimly he gets. hephlex definitely doing a good job grabbing all of his boos, definitely not dropping any 1 cycles or anything like that, which is not an easy thing to do. A lot of the boos can be very tricky, especially with the cackles like Michael was talking about. When he was referring to the boo double cackling for Zircon on his Breaker 1 cycle, that made it much more difficult because, like I had mentioned earlier, when the boos cackle a certain amount of times, they start to flee the room, and it can make a suck-up very, very tricky, or even impossible if the boo cackles too often.
That was very interesting by Zircon. It looked like he wanted to go for a double, but he didn't. So he can get it after he sucks up the first one.
Yeah, I was definitely interested by that as well. I wasn't sure if he was going to go for the double or not, but electing to play a little bit safer and just suck up each ghost, but definitely doing a very cool strat in order to do so. Also for the rooftop here, there are 2 strats you can do. The more common one is to burn all of the ghosts, but in the past people had actually sucked up all 6 Shy Guys at once. But people found that it was safer and faster to burn them all, so that strat kind of got phased out in most runs. So hephlex going for the double and getting cellar double very, very nicely.
Yeah, that was very, very good.
Better than I could have done.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see if hephlex has a little bit better luck than Zircon and doesn't get mushroomed. It's looking like he is going to get a very clean 1 cycle on that boo. But him and Zircon having the actual same boo count, since Zircon did grab that Breaker Room boo.
He does gain a little bit of time on Zircon, but not much.
Unfortunate for Zircon there, messing up the knock on one of the soldiers, or knights, I guess. Also, Zircon apparently having his alerts up on screen.
For the 25 bits, I appreciate it. Zircon.
As you watch the run, you'll notice the runners using the element a lot of the time to stun ghosts in place or keep them from despawning in order to get doubles, triples, quads, etc. And it's very interesting to see how players have optimized those strats since a few years ago. There's definitely a lot of very cool things that you can do with the element in this game, and it really brings another element to the game, as funny as that is. So it's just very interesting to notice how both players are utilizing the element specifically in their strats. We'll see Zircon trying to find that boo that he had missed. Another mushroom spawning. Two mushrooms. Zircon playing very safely. Not electing to even attempt to go for the boo.
Yeah, Zircon having a pretty decent time there.
Also, it's a very small detail, but Zircon elected to save and quit in the armory room and not elect to mirror warp to keep the ghost wherever it would be. Probably because he wasn't sure about where the boo would be located, and probably because the boo also did not have a low amount of health left. The boo still had 80 HP or so. So it's interesting. Also, it's looking like hephlex is going to go for the 6-piece on the Shy Guys, but he does not get it. Very unfortunate, going for the Boston Burner. A very, very cool strat. I do appreciate the Boston Burner. But it's looking like he is going to get a pretty clean setup there for the double on the ghosties, but he actually does Commentator's Curse right there, not execute that properly. I'm so sorry, hephlex.
That sucks for hephlex.
Indeed. He even played it a bit conservatively with spraying them with fire first to make sure that they were positioned correctly. But he does clean up the rooftop.
Really good Weston right there.
Absolutely, yes. Also, Zircon.
Not opening the chest, though. He's having some trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, not getting a good boo spawn there. It's looking like the boo might be at the top of the room, and it is.
That's all I have to say about that.
And there will be 2 boos in this room because the cellar room boo went into this room, so Zircon's still going to have to find one more boo. And we'll see hephlex advancing into the armory room, electing to do a very similar strat to Zircon, probably the exact same one. And so far, he's executing very well. Zircon collecting his last boo for the run. Since he did get the Breaker 1 cycle, he does not have to worry about collecting the Bangor boo at the end. Also, hephlex unfortunately messing up the burn on the blue ghost, so taking a little bit of damage and actually getting a little bit low on health. But at least he was able to recover that very nicely and also collect some hearts, so... Definitely making the best of the situation. Hephlex trying to find this boo. Looks like he has located the boo. Like Michael said earlier, the armory room can lag quite a bit, and it's not uncommon for players to drop inputs or have their vacuum auto-lock onto something. Hephlex cleaning up that 1 cycle very nicely, though.
At first, I thought he was going to lose it because it did move quite a bit to the right.
Indeed.
He played that very well.
Yes, he did. I was very worried, but he proved me wrong. He's definitely got a control on that boo very well. We'll see Zircon entering the Bangor cutscene here. So getting close to the end of this run. The positioning for these triples are very important for getting optimal suck-ups. Especially the red grabber ghosts that are coming up in 2 paintings. see Zircon,
Zircon messing up the triple.
messing up that triple. The strat that he was doing there was a little bit riskier. He did more of a turnaround and I guess flash with the light. A lot of the time having Luigi facing forward is a lot safer, but if you are looking to go as fast as you can, sometimes turning around would be faster depending on your positioning, but he probably missed that just because of how particular the hitboxes are for those bursts specifically. They're very, very tricky.
And that is probably the hardest triple to do in the Vanguard triples.
Absolutely. And we'll see hephlex heading over to Weston. We'll see if he is able to get a one cycle. Weston definitely a very dangerous room for people that are playing on English. The icicles do 40 damage if they hit you. So, very, very scary. But hephlex getting a solid one cycle. Trying to get a feel for where the boo might be as well. Collecting all the pearls so he doesn't have any auto lock issues.
And just like that, Zircon doesn't have to worry about Vanguard boo.
Misses the mirror twice, but does finally wrap up the mirror. And he will be heading down to
kill his chance. Makes it 58.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
Mario.
To 59 now. 59, 58.
hephlex getting a very clean one cycle on the Weston boo. Definitely executing fairly well in his area 4. Not dropping any one cycles on the boos. Very, very, very impressive.
Mario.
We'll see Zircon heading into the final King Boo boss fight here. hephlex is heading upstairs to Vanguard, so really not a whole lot of time between these players. There is a decent amount of time between them for sure, but hephlex definitely showing that he is a very consistent runner as well. Definitely coming close to his PB if he executes well the rest of the run. We'll see if Zircon does get a 2-cycle on King Boo. How the King Boo fight works is basically your goal is to get a 2-cycle on King Boo, but there are ways to consistently get a 3-cycle and not lose as much time as if you don't intend on going for a 3-cycle. There's the 2-cycle, the fast 3-cycle, and the slow 3-cycle. And the slow 3-cycle only really happens if you go for a 2-cycle and essentially do not get it. And the reason that it loses more time is Bowser's head gets turned around and he like runs all over the roof of the mansion, and it's like really, 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 really funny actually. So we got Big Hef on the triples here. We'll see if he's able to execute them well. So far he's looking good. We'll see Zircon electing to hit Bowser with the ball from an angle, something only a few runners do. There's an invisible wall that you need to essentially shoot the ball through or past, or else the ball will explode and not send out King Boo. And there are 2 ways to do it, the way that Zircon's doing it and the way that I'm assuming hephlex is going to do it, which is lining up in a different spot, more in line with Bowser rather than on an angle. Also, Zircon getting a very good first cycle here. Getting below 250 is usually a very safe bet for a 2-cycle. And he does indeed get it, a 59.01 for Zircon.
901.
hephlex looking like he's wrapping up his Vanguard here. Looking like he's going to be heading down to King Boo very soon. Also getting good RNG based on where he's positioned by getting the Boo to appear in the first spot. We'll see if he's able to get a fast 2-cycle.
But pretty decent run for Zircon, especially considering he did get Breakaboo.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely a very good time and showing from him. hephlex a electing to play it a little bit safer and going for the slower version of the 2-cycle on the Vanguard Boo, but it's looking like he is going to get the 2-cycle. So very, very well executed there by hephlex as well.
Alright, looks like he will be getting a... Okay then. What he was doing there. I do not know what he was doing there.
I don't know, you know, the mansion's a little bit old, so sometimes the doors have a bit trouble opening, but it looks like he was able to open the door eventually. Had to grab his WD-40 and spray it down a little bit first, but he did make his way through the door.
And those doors, they need to be sprayed down every now and then. The too
Yep.
old, man.
Absolutely.
Luigi's nose got stuck in the hinges.
There's no ghost for groundskeeper, so you know that nobody was taking care of the mansion, so these are the things that happen.
10307 if he 2-cycles.
Yeah, so we will see if hephlex is indeed able to do that 2-cycle. And like you guys saw with Zircon's 2-cycle, the goal is definitely to get the Boo's HP down as low as you possibly can. Most people that do consistently get 2-cycles will get it somewhere in the 230 to 240-ish range, but you can 2-cycle all the way up to like in the 260s to the 270s, or maybe even I don't know, 280 would be pushing it, but the 270s you probably could if you're really, really consistent. So it'll be interesting to see how hephlex takes this fight. See what hephlex elects to do here, and we'll also see if he does in fact line up the other way to get the ball through the invisible wall in front of Bowser, and he does.
It looks like hephlex decided to and he does get hit by the ice. Oh no.
So we will probably be seeing hephlex go for a fast 3-cycle here, since he did get hit by the ice, and 2-cycle is not possible at this HP in a regular run. So how the fast 3-cycle works is essentially you want to keep the King Boo's health right above 200, because once he crosses the threshold of 200, that'll cause Bowser to run around, and that's where the slow 3-cycle would come into play. So obviously when you're going for a 2-cycle and you do not get it, you know, you miss it by like 5 HP, then, you know, you're under 200. So that's how the time is lost there. But yes, hephlex electing to go for a fast 3 here. Losing the Boo a little bit, but he still should be... Oh, I spoke too soon.
No.
He also only has 6 HP, so he needs to be very careful to not die. Also, he is on the English version, so Bowser will not get stuck in the wall. On the Japanese version, it's possible for Bowser to get stuck there, since they don't have anything for him to like bounce off of. That's happened to me in my runs. Hephlex might die. Yes.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no! He got saved by the pillar. He got saved by the pillar.
This is clinching right here, guys.
Very, 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 very clenching indeed. The pillars come in the clutch. Oh gosh.
He gamed over. Oh no.
So, unfortunately, it looks like hephlex is going to have to redo that boss fight. But since you do save warp when you collect the Van Gorbu, he hasn't lost too much progress. For somebody like Zircon, who does get the Breaker Room Boo and does not collect the Van Gorbu, it would be interesting to see where he would have to restart the run if he did in fact die on that boss fight. Probably on Weston Boo, and would have to redo the Van Gor fight. Definitely a lot of respect for hephlex, though, for finishing the run. It's very, very, very hard as a runner to have something like that happen on the final boss fight.
That's something that no runner wants to do.
Yeah, no runner wants to do the run through on King Boo again. But honestly, hephlex just probably wants to show you guys his 2-cycle. He's like, I couldn't get the 2-cycle. I better show the stream how good I am at 2-cycle. But yeah, you guys saw right there the all the different levels of the King Boo fight where Bowser's head did get turned around and where he ran around kind of like a chicken.
Now, probably almost as soon as he finishes, we're definitely going to wrap up real quick so we can get on with the next match, because the next match is running a little bit behind at the moment. Could have done about that. Getting some deja vu from hephlex right now.
I'm not too sure. Sometimes I feel like I've seen these things before, but I honestly never know. Luigi's Mansion is a very unpredictable game.
As before, to be honest, this seems pretty new.
So again, we'll see hephlex here taking on the boss fight. Also, very unfortunate for him that Bowser is moving forward a little bit, because that will make that second cycle a little bit trickier, since he will not know the positioning for the ball grab. Also, the pillar getting in his way a little bit, but still looking like he will be able to take off a nice chunk of health. 274 is a little bit high. hephlex will probably elect to go for a fast 3-cycle. Each runner kind of has a threshold of where they probably deem fit to go for a 2-cycle, and based on how confident they are, and also if it's possible or not, that kind of determines whether or not the runner is going to go for that 2-cycle. And we will see hephlex.
I don't know what he decided to do here.
He seemed to elect to go for the fast 3-cycle, but then at the last minute decided that he wanted to go for a 2-cycle. I think he's just trying to take off as much health as possible and just trying to wrap up the run. Kind of, you see him spinning around.
Wants to finish.
Just trying to finish, yeah. Trying to finish and have some fun. I respect that. So we'll see hephlex narrowly avoiding the fire and getting hit by the explosions. He has to be very careful here, since his health is dropped a little bit low. He is still handling this boss fight incredibly well, though. I cannot tell you how many times I have died on this boss fight.
Good, I'm pretty sure. As long as he doesn't get hit by an icicle.
And that does look like it is it. hephlex getting a 108.15.
Then, well, that will do it for this tournament match, guys. Congrats to both of the runners.
Yeah, they both put on a great show.
Interviews at this moment. We are just about ready to go on with the next match. So stay tuned for the next few minutes. Chill here, and the next match, Airshock 22 and R March 3 will be taking place.
Yes, definitely stick around. It'll be a very, very, very good race.
Anywho, thank you, Sammy. It's been a pleasure commentating with you.
Absolutely. The same goes to you, Michael. It's always a pleasure commentating with you. Also, of course, shout outs to Speed Gaming. You guys rock too.
On rocks here. Thank you all for watching, and we'll be back in about a minute or two.
Yep, take care, and thank you for watching, guys.